And we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Monday night episode of the B.A.M series. We are super excited for our guest tonight. We have Colleen, and I'm excited just because I haven't heard her story yet, and she's got a really good one to tell. So that is going to be super exciting. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Rachel Piocini. I am a person in long-term recovery. I'm super grateful just to have been blessed to have found recovery and just to be able to use my voice and to have this platform here to be able to bring other people on, especially during the epidemic and what we've got going on with pandemic. We got the drug epidemic, we got the pandemic going on.
We got all
So
kinds of epidemic,
we
pandemic.
got lots of mixed things going on. And so I'm grateful just to have um, this space to share with somebody else who has experienced similar things to me, just as being a woman and you're a mom, right?
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
a
I thought
mom.
so. And a mom. And so we've experienced similar things, and we get to just take this time today and kind of just connect with you guys and hope that we get a message out that will give somebody hope or inspire somebody maybe to find recovery. And that's kind of the drill here. So this is Colleen, everybody. Hi, Colleen.
Hi,
So
nice to
tell
meet
me,
everybody.
yeah, I've been running all day long. So it's like one of the days where I'm like sitting down. I just was telling Colleen, I couldn't even tell what day it was for a minute. And I'm like, wait, it's Thursday. No, it's Wednesday. No, I got to do this. I got to do that. And so even though we do have COVID going on, my world is still pretty all over the place. Thankfully, I could definitely be wondering where I'm going to sleep tonight and how I'm going to get food and if there's a blanket. And I'm grateful I don't have to do that.
I
Um,
am very grateful that
yeah,
I have a nice little house with a roof and blankets to keep warm, and I don't have to worry about what I'm going to eat today. And
yeah,
a lot of gratefulness going on in my life, even though there are days where you struggle, especially with the pandemic going on, people not working, people kind of working, just the government not making up their minds what they want to do to help us, who
right.
knows. And right now, just the whole world is a lot of unknowns, and it's something that I don't think anybody in the world's ever experienced. Well, maybe in the flu pandemic of like 19 something, but
Yeah. If there are those that are alive that have
yeah,
been,
those that are alive, they are probably not anymore, but this is something new for everybody, and it was going to be really scary in the beginning because you knew just how bad and lonely people were going to become, and how it might affect even just your personal recovery, like how you are going to deal with this thing that we had to do, isolation, which is something you're taught in recovery not to do. You're not taught to isolate, and now you got the whole world telling everybody that you've got to be isolated and away from all of your regular activities. And it's just been kind of a crazy year. I've changed jobs, and I made it through it, and I didn't have any problems, and I actually started a new job that I really enjoy, and I get to do a little bit more hands-on work with people besides just working at detox and having a lot of struggle working there, but being able to help just the few that you can, it's always worth it. But doing a housing point of view is basically how we house people first. No matter what you're doing, you can still be an active addiction. The idea is to, if we house you first, anybody can move forward from that because you now have some form of foundation to build upon. And it's the same with recovery. You can't build your sobriety without having a good foundation to learn upon. I guess I should get into my story a little bit.
yeah, yeah,
So I
you can
used to be
start.
a
Yeah,
registered nurse.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
like,
I was
I
sharing
don't
it
know,
into
this
the
is
group.
kind of crazy. I've never done anything cool.
Yeah,
This is too cool for me.
huh?
So
It's awesome.
um I used to be a registered nurse, and I was a nurse from the time I was 18 until I was about 30. In between that time, I had seen a lot of really terrible things. I, of course, in my early 20s, well, I became a mom really young. I have a 19-year-old who's going to college. Whoop, whoop, go mom.
Hell yeah.
Go daughter. But we I had to learn a lot of stuff the really hard way, and I experienced a lot of trauma in my life, just like anybody else that's experienced any kind of form of addiction. We've all experienced some form of trauma, and the basics of not dealing with that leads you into whatever life you'll be. Being a registered nurse, you have a great life. Don't get me wrong. I have a good husband, had a nice life, had a nice house, but I wasn't happy with who I was and where I was going. And I never dealt with anything. I just pushed it away. And I basically got sick and I got prescribed a bunch of pain medications, and it spiraled out of control from there. I never had the risk of necessarily being homeless because I was able to have a nice husband to kind of take care of me. But I did have the risk of dying multiple times. And it got to the point where I would do really bad things at work to get my source. And you basically have no control. And there you are with trying to be a regular person and still running a drug life. It's just insane. You're two separate people. Um, that went on for a couple of years, actually. I was able to, like, my family didn't know. Like, I was pretty it was pretty terrible. I was really, really sick, and I didn't realize how sick I was until, like, someone catches you and the whole world falls down and you've hit the bottom and you have nothing left. I was able to get in touch with a friend, and she took me to my first rehab, my first detox, and first of a couple. Nobody ever gets it right on the first try. I don't know anybody that does, but she was able to support me that first time to teach me that there was something different than just getting high and being sad. I mean, if anything I can remember from using was how sad I was and what a sad person I had become, because I was a good mom. I took good care of my kids, and then I didn't care about anybody. And it was the scariest moment in my life when I realized that I could very well die and I didn't care anymore, which I've seen a lot of people in this world lately that feel that, which is nobody should ever feel like you're not worth it, because every human being, no matter what, is worth something. And I was able to go to a couple different treatment centers, and I was able to detox a couple different times. I eventually gave up my nursing license just for my own recovery and my own safety. I chose to go a different path, and now I'm working more in the social work aspect, which is so much more amazing, I think, and a little bit more fulfilling. Maybe not as cool sometimes because you got to deal with some crazy stuff, but definitely was a game changer to be able to give up that license I worked so hard for myself, not for anybody else. And that was really a big changer in my recovery, and it made me want to be sober, and it made me want to do better. And I did a lot of damage with my family, of course, and sure I damaged my children in some way, but I do my best to teach them what's right about people in recovery, what's right about drugs, what's wrong about drugs. Like, I just try to be clear with anybody I talk to about addiction, especially that it's all about in the support you receive. Like, without my family and the people I met along my little recovery path, I don't know if I would still be here today. There's a very good chance that I probably would have died, because it was such a closet like a closet thing, which is a very crazy thing to do, to hide something from people you love for so long, and to, like, to think you get away with it. It's really crazy, the things that you do when you're using. That life was not a life I wanted, but I chose, and I was able to get everything back that I had before, and some. Like, I've never met so many amazing people working at Detox. So many amazing guys come through that just need someone to love and care for them. Like, I don't care who you are, anybody out there. I am always up on Facebook. I'm always around. Like, I think we need to just care about each other and make sure that we know how important it is, to just support one another and have that common connection. Everybody's story is different and everybody's come from different paths. Some people have abuse, and there are just some crazy things that we all have to overcome. And it's crazy how only some of us get stuck in the loop of addiction and some of us don't. And they've still experienced the same things. It's just so crazy how everybody's brain's different. But us people that are in the club, our brains are special. It makes us a very special person to be able to overcome such a terrible, dark moment in anybody's life. Um, just it's amazing to have that gift of recovery to share with other people. I mean, I've seen some people at their worst, and I've seen people really actually make it out there and strive to be better and become these people that you're like, man, there you are. That's who you were the whole time. You know, drugs, they covered you up. Who were you?
Yeah.
It's just amazing to see all these people hop on, Facebook and supporting one another and just sharing like some of their ideas of what you might be able to do to help this one and what we can do to help this person. It's all about having that community to fall back on when you're struggling. Even almost 6 years in, there are days where you're like, man, I don't know if I want to choose this life anymore. But you do, because you know that no matter what, anything's better than where you were when you were heavily using. Anything's better than that.
Yeah.
Anything's better than hating every moment of every day. Like, I can hate one day and wake up the next day and know that I can breathe and that I'll see my kids again and that they'll have a mom to grow old. I mean, I'm already pretty old, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and I think that's what, like, one of the things that I love the most about recovery, which you've touched on like many times, like, so a lot of people, and I know it seems like, if, now that I'm reflecting on this conversation we've had multiple times now on the show, like, you touched on in the beginning how you were a good mom, right? And you were a really good mom. And I have that same, the same story where I was like the Martha Stewart, Betty
Mhm.
Homemaker, Betty Crocker. And I mean, people would stop me on the beach and be like, wow, dude, like, you're like a really good mom. Like, I just love my children. And then the drugs came in,
Yeah.
and then the drugs, that little tiny thing wasn't so important anymore. And it's like, and it's so crazy that there's something in this world that could make that love that you have, because you never stop loving your children, but you
No.
do fall in love with the drug. And then your whole entire life that went from, I'll do anything for my children, I'll kill for my children. Not really, I won't kill anybody for my kids, but to,
Man.
yeah, well, right here, well,
Yeah.
to, you're going to do anything in your willpower to to get the drugs, and then your
Yeah.
children go from being your top priority to kind of an option, but maybe in a little bit. And
Right.
it's really sad.
It was, and now my kids are much older. They were younger, but I did have a almost teenager at that time. And I can remember, like, I was just there and a lump and I didn't do much anything. And then poof, I was gone. I had rushed off to go to treatment, go fuck off a couple times, until I could figure to get my head straight. But the whole time, my kids were always important, but it's almost like your kids are here and the drug becomes here. And no matter how hard you try, and you know how much you love your children, like you said, I would do anything for them. But that drug just takes over everything in your life. And that's anybody. Eat, sleep, breathe, here, drug. up here, and you would do anything to do that. And then you realize later, man, I really wasn't that great of a mom for a little bit. And I really didn't do those good things that you think you're being so great at, but you're over there hiding hiding another life. You're being another person. And it was, I talked to a lot of people that had friends and stuff, and I was never like that. It was just me and my drug, me and my drug, and that was it. That's all I needed. To the point where my husband said he would like watch me sleep because he would be afraid I wouldn't wake up. And like I'm over here like, oh, I'm fine, like, and you're not. You're totally not. And you just need that one moment of reality where you realize, man, my life was really on the line. And all those times I didn't know that. I didn't see that because I was so sick and I didn't realize how sick I was. Like it was insane. It
Yeah.
was definition of insanity right there. Like just doing the same thing, expecting a better result, and nothing changed.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's crazy how you go through that and all you want to do is spread your message to people to be like, look, you don't have to live this way. I swear. And I tell people, I'm like, look, not every day is peaches and cream. Not every day is rainbows and unicorns and puppies. I have days where I think I might lose my mind. I have days where I don't know if I can be that person that I think I need to be. But I realized, man, I went over a lot harder stuff and I was totally able to overcome that the bills are coming, the washer's broke, whatever happens in my life, nothing will ever be worse than almost losing my life and almost losing my family. Above all, my gosh, I think that's the thing that really scared everything was I really was going to lose my kids. And that's the only thing I've ever known since I was 17 is to be a mom, and a lot of people just need to realize that we just got to support each other no matter where they're at in whatever process. If anybody even has an inkling to think to get help, it's worth it. Like it's always worth it to me, even if they don't want it quite yet. It's worth it to sing my song and plant that seed of hope and let them know that, yeah, hey, I was you 5 years ago. Now, I got a life, I got my house, I got kids, life still sucks, but I'm still alive and everything is okay. Like,
Like, so when you say that, like, I think it's important that we kind of talk about that and touch on it. So you know what I mean? Because everybody, like the people that'll watch this or the people who maybe see this or whatever that don't know what addiction is like and don't know what it's like to be in recovery, like it's hard.
it's hard.
Like it's hard. Like I had a kid that we were talking to the other day, and I was like, what's sad? This kid is going through these emotions, right? Like a loss of a parent, and they don't know what it's like to be able to escape reality and get numb. So they feel the emotions, and there's so many people in this world who feel death and they go through it. But
Yeah.
us in recovery, a bad breakup, losing a job, the pandemic, we know what it's like. Oh, I got chills saying that. Like, I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see it. I burnt myself. It's not a cut, everybody. Um, like I burnt the crap out of my arm yesterday. Um, but for people like us who are experiencing long-term recovery, short-term recovery, a day, whatever, we know what it's like to escape. And so we've
Yeah.
got this constant battle. Like a bad day comes, and I'm so grateful that today in my life, like bad days are bad days. And like you kind of said before, but I know tomorrow I get to wake up and tomorrow's going to happen and I'm going to be okay. And I could eat all the ice cream I want, or I could do, I mean, there's my addiction.
Yeah.
Eat the stuff in my face however I need to,
Yep.
because tomorrow's going to be fine. But it takes time to get there.
It does. Oh my gosh, it probably took me, I can't even say that I'm all the way there, like it took years to get to the point where I felt like tomorrow would be okay. Like I would wake up on a daily basis. For a long time, I couldn't find a job. I was still trying to be a nurse. I was still trying to have the life that I had had before. But what I didn't realize, what that's not the life I was meant to have. So I had to learn to wake up and realize, yeah, things got to change, and change. We all hate change. We all hate change.
Yeah.
But it took years upon years of telling myself that every day I'm okay today, because you know what? I didn't pick up today. I'm okay today. Like today, I'm okay today because so far it's about 8, almost 8 o'clock, and I'll be going to bed soon, and I feel okay today. But there's still, they pop in less frequently the longer I've been sober, of course. That's just, I think the practice, maybe you just have that practice of the mindset is, I don't have to battle my beast today because he's already put away in a cage. So as long as I don't let it out, I'm okay. And that, I think I told myself that about the beast in the cage for a really, really long time on a daily basis. And I've told a lot of people the beast in the cage story. And as long as I don't let it out that day, I'll be okay because the cage is locked. I've locked the cage for a long time, but there's always could be that moment, like you said, a bad breakup, a death, you lose your finances, whatever it may be. There could be that tipping point where you could fall over at any second. And you just have to remember, I'm not always going to be perfect. And when I'm not perfect, I got to accept those flaws, cuz those are the things that might tip me over personally, is when I'm trying to be a perfectionist and I can't be, cuz I'm not a robot. Like just those little things you have to learn over time. And the longer you bank your recovery, like I don't keep a number. I know when it was, but I don't like keep a running number. But to me, as long as I know that, yep, I'm good today, that's all that mattered. You just have to, it's really hard that first couple years to keep going on the really crappy days, but they do get going. And there are still really scary moments, especially with the pandemic going on. There was a lot of scary moments this past year for many people, including, my household, me. Like I was scared of what I might do if I really couldn't do what I like to do, which is help others. That's another thing in itself. But just knowing that you can keep moving forward, and even when there's really crappy stuff going on, there is a supportive community out there, and everybody's going through the same stuff. It just might be a different storyline, but it's always the same kind of stuff.
What was
And
it like? So you've been in and out of treatment. Did you do all your treatment here in Utah?
yeah,
Yeah. So you go in and out of treatment, right? And so you get it, you do detox, I'm assuming, because you said
yeah,
that a few times. Then you go to treatment, you get out, something doesn't work. Then you
yeah,
go back again.
you didn't surrender. I didn't surrender in the
Yeah.
beginning. I thought I could just fucking go. Oh, sorry.
No,
I
you can
thought
curse.
I thought I could just go there and act like nothing was wrong and everything would be okay. And I never really had surrendered until that last time I actually went to Recovery Ways, which was,
Awesome.
yeah,
Did you go
like,
to the same one a couple times? Did you
yeah,
go to the
I
same?
did. Yeah. And the first one, I just was like, nope, I'm not doing this, and I'm going to be a brat, and I know what's best, and I'm the best person in the world. But really, it took about 3 times before I finally decided that I have to surrender everything that I'm holding in, all of the hurt, all of the trauma, all of the heartache, all of the terrible things that happened in my life. There was one moment where my dad died, and I blame myself. He died of cancer. I didn't give him cancer, and that was the craziest thing ever. And it took me years to realize that no, it wasn't my fault. And no, I didn't do that. I did everything I could to help the man. And that was when I really realized that, okay, I have to let go of all of that emotional crap and let people know what happened. Let people know what happened when I was a teenager. All that crazy stuff that you don't tell anybody. you have to let someone hear it so it can come out, because it just eats you away. And after I surrendered all of that crap to my higher power, which is just the universe and, everything else in it, it was like all that weight had been lifted off. But I was still a sad girl, but I was learning that I could be a strong, strong woman. And it
I
was
love that.
just, yeah, it was like an amazing feeling to know, oh, I finally give in. You just finally give in. It's the craziest thing, because I was never one to believe in anything up above, nothing, just meh. But that moment where I was sitting alone in my bathroom on the floor, you know, contemplating whether or not I would wake up, that last time was enough to make me realize that I needed to just let them go, because I'd already picked up some of the tools from, when you're there, you listen. Even if you're trying not to, you listen. You do. And you pick up some of the things and you're like, God, what the hell's going on with me? What am I doing? Why am I fighting something that is right here in your face so hard? So hard. And once I gave in and was able to accept all of those things, it started to click. Now, I still stayed in treatment another 6 months before I came home, like before. And then I went to sober living before I could come home. And then I still had to come home and learn how to be a mom again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you learn how to be put back together enough to function as a single person, but to come back to a family it was really hard and scary.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the transition. Like you talked a little bit earlier before about change, right? And the change is scary. Like, well, and it's kind of weird because the change that you go through when you become addicted and you start using, like, that really fast change is not scary because you're like in this crazy euphoria world, and it's like being a kid at a party and you're
Yeah.
like, I gotta go there, I gotta go do this and that. And then it's like you strip yourself of most of your morals and your values and your beliefs and the things you believe in. And now we have to go as adults and retrain our brain to, I don't do those things anymore. So
Right.
now it's like, you have a bad day, so we got to retrain the brain. Oh, I need a drink for this, because if I don't know if you were like me, that I needed a drink for everything. I
I
had to go to
need
the
a little
bathroom.
bit of
I needed a drink
something
in
for
the bathroom.
everything. Yep.
Oh yeah, and a drug. If it,
Anything.
whatever it was, go to an interview. Oh, I better have a drink in my hand. Go to the movies. I better go to the bathroom or see if could I smoke inside my shirt, because
Yeah.
everybody's vaping. Could you smoke in the
Nobody
shirt and come out
knows.
like a vape cloud? You know, anything that I could, any excuse, any reason, I had to do that. So one, I have to retrain the brain because now we don't do that anymore. And it's all these different memories because our brains work off memory. So like you're driving down the street and these memories happen. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you're probably at the part now where the memory, like you've got, because I'm 3.5 years and I still have these stupid memories. Oh, that's
Oh,
the trap.
yeah.
And I'm recreating.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I did a lot in my house, and so, like, I'll be in my bathroom, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're totally fine, but you remember something about being in this bathroom in your using days,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you are right back there as if it were yesterday or right then.
Yeah.
And it's like got to be the scariest thing, because you're like, wait a minute, that's not real. That's not happening right now. I'll be driving down the road and I'll be like, God, I remember this intersection. And you're just like, and you're right there again. You're like, wait a minute. You have to remind yourself, wait a minute. Okay, that's my brain trying to trick me into thinking that that kind of behavior was okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
It's,
Yeah.
any of that kind of stuff, doing drugs in your house for free, for fuck's sake, any of
I
that.
know, I know. Like
So
hiding from your children is normal, so you could get high. It's the insanity.
it's insanity. Yeah. And you're like, those with those memories do, they're trying to trick you into thinking that that stuff's okay. And the minute like I'll feel that way, I really do have to sometimes catch myself and be like, hold on. Oh no, okay, that's old. Or I'll find somebody, I'll be like, yo, I just had the weirdest feeling. Like I felt like I was back like 5 years ago. Everything's okay here, just checking it out. Maybe I'm tripping myself out. And most people be like, you're kind of crazy. And you're like, yeah, I know. But I
You
just
didn't see me
need
on
to,
drugs because I am crazy. I'm
yeah,
not trying to go there.
like you just have to be like, hey, just verify with me that everything's cool right now. Like, okay, I'm here in the present. You just, oh, it's that grounding. You ground
Yeah.
yourself, bring yourself back to the present. And it's very scary to have those moments, even 5 years, 6 years in.
Yeah.
It does happen. But that to me, it happens more when I'm feeling very stressed or I have a lot of stuff going on and I just haven't been able to really relax and rest my little brain. Cause, being a case manager for people, you're babysitting
Yeah.
and and keeping appointments for everybody's things, so you sometimes just need to rest your brain, I find, and then I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
But definitely happens still later into recovery. But yeah, I think you're more prepared to deal with it. So you have a little bit more time to be like, okay, I know this. All right, I'm good. Everything's okay. But in the beginning, it was very scary. And I would legit not go in those rooms. I wouldn't go in that bathroom. I wouldn't want to be at home alone in my house just for a long time until I could feel comfortable with myself. It's not
Yeah.
even anybody else. It's just comfortable with myself and know that, yeah, I'm good. I can check myself pretty good now, but in the beginning, I always made sure that there was someone there just to be like, "Hey, I'm feeling kind of weird. Let's go do something." Whatever it would be, and that seemed to assist in some of that stuff, but it's really just something that I think you have to go through so that you can remember not to do that again,
Yeah.
you know? Just like detoxing, you always have to go through a couple times so you can remember how crappy it is.
Yeah. Yeah. What
Cause
about like self care? So, like, when you got out, you started to learn to the transition, you start getting back into your family, you start relearning how to be a mom again, which is so crazy to say that because the truth is, like, you know, we have to get like little accomplishments like becoming a mom again and being able
yeah,
to take the kids to school again, which most people take for granted of because you just don't realize how important it is because you never lost it. But
yeah,
getting a driver's license, like being proud that you showed up to work on time and didn't call out sick for a month. Because that's what, you know what I mean? And but then we have to start learning how to take care of ourselves, like you said, and start learning how to feel good about ourselves. And so, like, what was that like for you? Like coming to and realizing, like, dude, I have been a really shitty mom, and now I have to get through that to learn how to be a good mom and then love yourself. Like that's hard.
oh,
I know from experience.
I think I still struggle that with that on a daily basis. I do regret some of the things I put my kids through. Of course, we all do. But I really did try to take that best foot forward, and really for me, like my self-care, I didn't really know how to have a hobby. I didn't really know how to do any of that stuff, like anything for myself. It was always for others. So I pick up some of those like artsy fartsy stuff and I do those little crafts, and but in the beginning it was a lot of crafting, a lot of just keeping that regular schedule with my kids. Yes, I had a 4 and 5 year old at the time, and we only went to kindergarten every other day, but I had to make sure that I was present every day, not just the days they were not at kindergarten. I had to make sure that I was busy and there. I had to learn how to be a housekeeper again. I had to learn how to basically manage a family all over again because all those that time I'd been gone, you just fall out of sync with it. And it was almost felt impossible. I made sure that I did have support. I have a wonderful mom. I don't think I've mentioned her yet. My mom is the best person in the world, just so she knows.
Huh.
She, she really was there to support and just be like, hey, you need to get up and do this with your kids and take them to school. And if you have a routine of how you're going to take care of things, it's not going to be quite so overwhelming. Don't get me wrong, overwhelming at times, but just having that basic, I'm going to get them up and get them dressed today and we're going to brush our hair. Hey, go mom day. That was a meaningful thing. My first couple months home was we did their hair every day. Woohoo. And it was just little bits at a time, just kind of reinserting yourself back into their lives because their lives had gone on regardless if I was there or not. Now, how much the little girls remember, I'm not sure. We talk about things, but we don't talk about deep things like that every day. But they know that I was there, but not there. They can say that they saw me, but I wasn't doing things. I didn't play games. I would make an effort when I first got home to do those fun activities that I felt like I missed out on.
Yeah.
Really, they were the ones that missed out. It wasn't me, it was them. So it more became taking care of your family instead of just doing things for them
Yeah.
by showing them, yeah, I really do want to be here and I want you to love me and I want to play games, I want to play Barbies and tea time, all the things that I didn't do. I was trying so hard to make sure that I would make that effort. Now, did it always work out? No, never. But I was able to learn how to slowly get myself back in. Did I overwhelm myself at some points in time? Yes, for sure. But you have to learn to just take that step back. And that's when you got to go back to caring for yourself a little bit harder
Yeah.
and a little bit more frequently, than you do when you're not.
What do you, so like now that the pandemic is here and you're doing your job, so you work for the detox center here, the VOA, which we kind of talked a little bit about, right? And so were you at the VOA when the pandemic first started?
I was there when it first started, but I left after that. And now I work at the road home for housing case management. But yeah, we were there like a couple months in and it still hadn't gotten crazy yet,
Yeah.
but it definitely was an increase in people, an increase in general like dismay amongst the people, or I want to say the population, because you could just tell that all of a sudden meetings had stopped. We had definitely more people coming in using a little bit harder, maybe some relapsing that had been clean. There were a lot of people still looking for that outlet of going to a meeting as soon as the pandemic hit, and it was really scary because there really wasn't anything right in the first couple. I
Yeah.
mean, right in the beginning, there really wasn't any way to guarantee that you could have that outlet or that meeting. They definitely started doing more groups at that time at Detox just to try to support the guys a little bit better that were there and were stuck there. Well, not stuck. They were there,
Yeah.
but they couldn't leave or they
Happily
couldn't
there.
come. Yeah, or they couldn't come back for a while, not just the regular rules because of COVID. And oh gosh, as soon as the pandemic hit, I was scared for sure. And I was worried for my family and I was worried for my friends, and it was probably one of the scarier things I think I've had ever had to deal with.
Yeah. When it
I
was
have,
scary.
yeah, like I was just not sure about what was going on. Was it going to be like zombie apocalypse type stuff?
Yeah. I think we're still trying to figure out if that's happening.
I
Like,
still are.
is it happening yet? Is it going to? Has it happened? What's really happening? It's definitely been like uncertainty. I
Yeah,
mean, I think now everybody's just sick and tired of it. But maybe I don't want to say comfortable, but it's become the thing. Um, and
right.
it's hard because I mean, I think everybody just wants to live life. I mean, I would imagine just with the guys that, well, and I have no idea, but like the guys who you're doing case management for, I would imagine it, to some it's really complicated, and to others it's like like everybody else.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter what gender or race or population you're serving, because some really care and some have anxiety over it, and some are like conspiracy. It doesn't matter what you've used in your lifetime or haven't. A conspiracy theorist is a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
You know, but
Shut the
it's
door.
just it's been crazy. So you've been in and out of treatment, you have surrendered, you've got your family back, you are a good mom, you love your job now, like what are like some of the joys that recovery has given you? So you've got almost six, pretty much 6 years of really going through the good, the bad, the ugly, the changing of the jobs. Like, share some of like the just exciting, joyful things that one has to really look forward to.
Waking up alive.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm so
Um,
grateful and love life today
you
that I mean,
know,
I can go off on gratitude all day
I have
because
gotten
I'm
to
not in prison.
see I have gotten to see my oldest daughter graduate high school, go on to college. She's in her second year,
That's
which is
rad.
crazy. I've been able to just cherish what I thought I wouldn't have or what I thought I wasn't allowed to have.
Yeah.
I've been able to cherish my husband. I mean, I love this man with all my heart. I've known him since I was like 15. So like we are two peas in a pod. But the funny thing is he is a normie and I am not.
Huh.
So he sometimes doesn't understand some of the struggles that I face, but I've learned to cherish everything about him because he really stood by me the whole time, no matter what. And was there at the darkest moments of my entire life. And it just brought us, I think, closer together, or maybe a deeper understanding of each other, to where that was something I don't think I would have learned if I hadn't found recovery. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have learned that my husband and I could go through such a test and such a struggle for such a long time. And I mean, years after being in recovery, you're still reaping that financial toil you took on yourself. But to know that was one thing that came out of it, was that I could keep my family together and my husband, is joy in itself every day.
Yeah.
Just to be able to show other people that there is a life after this terrible thing that we go through, and the ups and the downs, and like just to be able to share with other people that, hey, it is possible, and no matter what, I'll be there waiting. I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah.
And that's just such a bright thing in my life that has really like shown me the possibility of recovery. I don't think if I wouldn't have been able to be of service to people, as minuscule as it could have been at detox in the middle of the night when people come to the door and they need someone to talk to, I know sometimes I really did change somebody's mind, or I assisted them in some way that brings me joy in my life,
Yeah.
And there's so much out there. Like, it's hard to like name, because you're grateful for everything, but you get used to it. But I can say I'm grateful for my home. I didn't lose that in my struggle. I didn't lose my beautiful kids to any kind of court. I didn't have to go
Yeah.
to prison. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. And I'm joyful that I've hope I've learned my lesson hard enough, even though it has to be the hard way, like, hey, I'm a hard learner. Sometimes, you have to remember, hey, maybe I'm not done learning my lesson, but I've definitely learned that lesson before.
Yeah.
And to be grateful that I can remember those things on a daily basis, that's a plus, because there were lots of days in there I don't remember.
Yeah.
God, probably a whole couple years that are
Yeah.
big fog.
Yeah. I was definitely a blackout everything. And so there's a lot I don't remember. Probably glad
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I mean, I'm joyful just to be able to wake up and get dressed every day,
Yeah.
and go through my daily struggles,
Yeah.
because those what let me know I'm alive. And
Yeah.
And yeah, some of them are harder than others, and you have to use different strengths for different things. But to be able to get through that, that's like, man, I'm pretty banging.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I think gratitude's like huge because learning how, because you go from this miserable, dark place where you hate everything and you're so dependent on just, there's just everything about the drug is dark and it's evil and it succumbs you
it does.
to being able to be happy and be alive. Like, I wake up every morning and I frequented jail. So, like, I am so grateful just to have my freedom and to know that I have a card
Mm,
that's mine with my name on it, with the money that I earned legally to put gas in my car, even if I'm late for an appointment because I
yeah.
should have put the gas in last night, which I always think, oh, I'll do it in the morning and leave 10 minutes early. But I'm grateful for those moments.
Yeah.
Because I don't, because I know every time I keep doing the next right thing will happen. And just, I mean, just the people don't well, so a lot of people don't understand what it's like to not know how you're going to put gas in your car or not know how you're going to get your next meal. And like, my fridge is stuffed with stuff that I end up throwing out because I buy too much food and my
Yeah.
kids don't like anything and they're able to be picky. It's not like it was 25 years ago when
Yeah.
it didn't matter if you hated your food, you were going to eat it anyway. And I'm just grateful for all these little tiny things, whether it's snow or just seeing grass or
Mm.
being able to, well, I can't really run that much now because I'm out of shape, but and I got to be careful twisting and turning because COVID got me there. But like just these little things of gratitude, just to be grateful for. Like, you work with some people that, I mean, you probably are super thankful that you just don't have to, you get to go home at nighttime and don't have to worry about what's going to happen. And we do service and we help these people who are at the very bottom
Very
and they're
bottom.
stuck and they don't know how to get out. And even when they want to, I mean, I think your job
It's damn
shows
near
you that it's,
impossible.
yeah,
Even when they want to, it's almost damn near impossible.
yeah. I
I
mean, and
mean,
we're lucky.
to that is very true. I am always grateful to be able to go home every night because I do see people on a daily basis that don't even have shoes on their feet. It is fucking February. I
Yeah,
know it's not that cold outside, guys, but shoes are required. And
yeah,
it's not because they don't want them, it's because they don't have them, or they've been stolen, or they've been bulldozed, or whatever it may be. But I even have people in housing that have to struggle with where they're going to get their next meal. And these guys only know the street life. Like, they don't know the life of what maybe you and I might know now. My fridge is
yeah,
full. My kids get to eat what they want. I
yeah,
have bananas and strawberries in
yeah,
February.
yeah,
Like, they get to have those perks, but I have people that are eating canned spam
yeah,
without being able to cook it because they don't have a means to do so, and it's almost, you just look at your life and you go, "Oh, thank God."
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
God. I
A
am
lot to be
lucky
grateful
enough.
for.
Yeah, I have a lot to be grateful for. And every little bit that I can go out to the community and shine my little flashlight on, I would love to do, and I love doing it. And the guys that don't have those things, they want them just as much as you and I. And
Yeah,
and to me, they deserve it just like you and I.
yeah,
And it's almost crazy how the world is works, that you have people in the year 2021 sleeping in tents on the street corner, to the point where there's so many tents that the police come and bulldoze said tents,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's 2021, guys. Like,
yeah,
we should have a better system. And I mean, you can't always blame the system, but whatever little bit anybody in this community can do to help anybody, if it's handing out a snack bag out of your car to someone on the side of the street, they're always grateful.
yeah,
And I don't run into a lot of people in the grocery store that are grateful for their food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's almost like you're privileged to have that
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
But I have people that are grateful for my little peanut butter bars or your little
Yeah.
crackers, whatever you
An
can.
expired box of Twinkies that came
Yeah.
in that you get to eat the whole box. Like it's
Yeah, a family
terrible.
who is willing to eat expired meat, things that are going in the trash. Like
Yeah.
I've seen grocery rescue where I've seen families have to come and pick out, it is basically trash food. I mean, it's okay sometimes, but you know what I mean.
I
And they're
know.
coming to feed their children with that. Nobody's kids need to eat like that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well,
And
I think hunger is a big thing.
and that's a crazy, it's crazy how the world works where, those people could be you. They could be me. They could be my neighbor. And it's almost like not enough awareness is brought to this issue, or just
Yeah.
the issue in general of homelessness does not equal drug use. Homelessness could be any neighbor, any person in the street, anybody. It could be the Fortune 500 company. You
Yeah.
could be homeless tomorrow.
Yeah.
And just to be able to come back from that, or come back from the verge of homelessness, to be able to prosper, or not prosper, but be able to make your way back into having the things that everybody has, is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just deserve, they deserve that chance. And I am just so grateful for the chances that I've been given over and over. And I'm grateful that I chose to take some of them. Mind you,
Yeah.
always learn the
Yeah.
hard way.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say, like, we're getting close to like
Yeah.
our finish time, and I'm so grateful that you are sharing the space and just being open and vulnerable, and just, we're both passionate about our unsheltered homeless population here, and we want to help them and serve them. And to me, to one person, they're, don't look over there and walk across the street, and don't look at those people because they're scary. And to us, it's like, I just want you to talk to me so I
Yeah.
could listen, and let me help you. Like, let me love you. Let me give you food.
Let
You
me give
know,
you,
yeah.
give.
Let me give because we want to. And it's the work that we've been doing, especially during the pandemic. It's been really interesting to see how many groups are out there. I mean, I could go on a Friday, I could go on a Monday, I could
Uh-huh.
go on a Tuesday night, I could go on a Sunday morning. It doesn't matter what day I go out, I run into at least one group or a family or somebody who wants to help our population here. And there's still not enough. I mean, they're still starving. They
Yeah.
still don't have the right clothes because, the clothes that get donated aren't really the best whatevers. And it doesn't matter. But it's so beautiful because there's so many people out there that are willing to help and to provide little necessities that, at least for the moment, make them feel good. Um, but we're dealing with a really broken population, and so it takes a special person to be non-judgmental and to not and to do that, because we're dealing with people who are lost and hurt, and some are not mentally there, and scared, and getting living on the streets is living on the streets, and there's a lot of crime involved, and there's a lot of trauma.
Very
And
scary.
yeah, it is. It's scary. And so, you know, thank you to you for all the work that you do just to help our people, because they need to be loved, and you give them that. What would you, as we end this tonight, but I just want to make sure that, like, I appreciate the work you do, and I know your people do, and there's so many who don't even understand the importance of your job, but it's an important one. But what would you say, like, your hope shot is to kind of end this for the night, like the piece of hope to offer?
So my greatest piece of hope would be that, just remember, no matter where you're at in your journey, the story's not written yet. And there can be many, many chapters, and it can have lots of different turns, but there's always a chance to write a different way, or to make a different turn down that road, to find yourself. And that's really what it's all about, is you have to find yourself and love who you are, no matter how weird or crazy or not pretty or whatever you think yourself is. You got to love yourself for who you are. And that's how you're going to find yourself in recovery to be this amazing person that you really were meant to be all your life. And it's just please don't ever give up on anything. It's always worth it if you work for it. I know, so corny.
No, it's not, because it is, but I freaking love you. I just
Oh, I love
thank
you
you.
too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you do. No, because I love you. Thank you for coming on tonight. I appreciate you. Um, that's it, and all we have for tonight. It's time for bed. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I have training tomorrow, and I have all these videos that I was supposed to watch over the weekend, and I have another meeting at 9. So I'm like, dude, it never ends. I
Never.
love you. Have a good
I love
night.
you. Good night. Good night,
Yep.
world.
Good night.